What's going on, everybody? Y'all already know what it is, man. It's your boy Pitts, Pitt Sports Zone, Bowie TV, coming to you live once again through the eye of the Tiger. It's going down with myself, Pitts, and Coach Bernard Clark Jr., a.k.a. Tiger. What's going on with you, Coach?
Not much, man. Just chugging along here trying to get some W's. You know how that works.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. Last week, Central, Connecticut. If you can take us through a brief analysis of how that game turned out for you guys.
Well, it didn't turn out well, but the thing I'm proud of our guys about, with this, not a moral victory or anything like that. We didn't start fast. That's probably what bothers me more than anything else. In the first quarter, we gave up 2 touchdowns, had some turnovers. I had a turnover that hurt us a little bit, put the defense in bad position. First half, we missed the field goal. So we didn't start fast, but we played physical. The guys came out hitting, doing some good things, and they did finish the game. So that was the positive about it. Again, I had the young freshman quarterback going there. He went in, and I think in the third quarter, he got hurt. And so we had the other quarterback, the redshirt freshman, going there, Jake. And Jake ended up driving us down for 2 touchdowns, punching it in the end zone, doing some good things. And the positive thing that came out of it, one of our wide receivers, Chaz Middleton, I think Chaz had I don't know how many catches, but they had about 183 yards and a touchdown. So he played well. So there's some positive that jumped out of that game. And we didn't give up another touchdown in the game, except for the first quarter. And we gave up a field goal in the fourth quarter. So it's a situation where our guys played hard. They finished. So like I said, that's a positive. So I'm hoping that can carry over. But it's just a matter of just trying to get those W's. They're just sneaking by us. A little score here, score there. We missed 2 field goals and we missed the extra point. If we get those things, we're looking at 18-21 or 18-24. Now you got a chance to drive down and punch it in. So, little mishaps like that, some self-inflicted wounds that we have, but, we know how to correct those things. We have to correct those things if we want to be going in a positive direction.
And my first question was going to kind of, delve into what you just, went through is what were some of the challenges. And one of the things that we talked about last week was about playing complementary football and the importance of playing complementary football. In that regard, that means, when you talk about the miscues, whether it's special teams or whatnot, it ails against the offense or defense, depending on the special teams unit we're referring to.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing. Like you said, we give up a pick 6 in the third quarter. Beginning of the third quarter, we're going down. We throw a pick 6. But like I said, they kept fighting. We ended up kicking an onside kick, recovered it, went down, punched it in the end zone. So there were some things that were complimentary. And like I said, the guys didn't get down on themselves even after that. Even after they went up 21-0, we didn't get down on ourselves. Our guys kept fighting, they kept punching, and they kept swinging. So that's the positive thing about it. Even with the young quarterbacks. The young quarterbacks did a good job. They went, I think, Coop threw for 230-something yards. The other young man threw for like 100-something, so over 300 yards passing. So that's the positive about it. Still getting the running game. I think the running game is finally getting there. Guys are starting to see the holes. They're seeing what's there. The vision is coming a little bit better with Whack and with Shine. So, again, those are the positives. And like I said, those are the things that complement it. Coming out in the second half, our defense was able to hold them off and keep it from scoring. Even the pick 6, like I said, but keep it from scoring in the third quarter, keep them scoring in the fourth quarter other than the field goal. So that's the positive out of it. So those are the complementary things that you want to continue to happen.
Absolutely. And, one of the things that we talked about early on before the season began was, not giving excuse or making excuses.
Absolutely.
Was that, your team was genuinely, 80%. You got roughly over 50 plus players, and your coaching staff, changeover as well. A lot of turnover, going into the season prior to. However, one thing that I've always said when it pertains to the team is that, no matter the record, the team has fight. They keep fighting. And when you talk about the morale of the team during that time, and you say the good thing about the players were that they didn't get down, they didn't give in, they didn't give up. And I always feel that that's a representation of the leadership and the coaching that they're under.
Well, I appreciate that, but again, as that coach right now, I want to win, and that's the tough part about it, because as a coach, I'm pointing at myself. I'm not pointing at the players. I'm pointing at myself and trying to figure out what can I do differently so these guys can succeed. Just trying to figure out, we changed up practice, we changed some other things, we made some competition in practice. So we're trying to do as much as we can to see if these guys can really go. Because all we're asking them to do, and that's all I told them, is me and you talked about it, just get 1% better every day. I mean, get 1% better at something every day. Now, I can't say if they're doing that, if they're not doing that, because only an individual can say that. But as a
Yeah.
coach, I'm going out there and I'm trying to do a 1% better every day, regardless of what it is. Am I going to coach this position this day as opposed to coaching this position? So as a head coach, I'm trying to do everything I can to get us in the right frame of mind and, and making sure we're, like I said, having the right mentality when we get on the field. But again, it's one of those situations, you just got to win. I think that's what it boils down to. I think once we get that first victory in the NEC, I think we'll be okay. And, that's the biggest situation right now. We got one win, but it's not enough. I think we need
Yeah.
to get that one victory to make sure that we understand that you got to like that taste. You got to like that taste in your mouth as opposed to being upset about losing. You're excited about winning. So
Yeah. And last week, we talked about the mental fortitude when it came to the players. Last week's word of the week, or wow, was mentality. And, when we talk about the mentality was, having a discernment, the discipline, the development, to keep fighting regardless, ignoring the distractions that may or may not occur in game, out of game. What is our wow, our word of the week for this week?
word of the week this week is collaborate. All those things need to come together. We need to collaborate as a team and join together as a team and understand the importance of us complementary football, feeding off of each other, helping our guys understand that, because you're running a route and you're not getting the ball doesn't mean you have to run that route full speed and clear out what we need you to clear out. Because you may be a decoy this time doesn't mean you're going to be a decoy next time. Because we need you to spill on this play and force the play to get outside so somebody else can get across the top and make the tackle, that's your job. Everybody has to know that you have a job on every particular play. Again, it goes back to the 111. And I tell our guys all the time, hey, man, if you can win 8 out of 10 plays, 8 out of 10, we got a chance to win. That's what you got to understand more than anything else. If you win 8 out of your 10 plays, we got a chance to win this thing. You got to make sure you understand that. So we got to collaborate this week and make sure we're getting it done.
When we talk about, and I'm not saying, and you have not said that this is your players, but I'm asking from a standpoint of when you have players that may not be running their routes full speed because they're either a decoy or they're not the number 1 or 2 option. We've seen it time after time after time when it comes to football that the 1 or 2 options can get taken away. So the importance of finishing strong, and going 100% every play has the benefit of just because you weren't the number 1 option doesn't mean you're still not an option.
Well, I guess the best way to show it is it happened on the biggest stage. I don't know if you remember the play when the tight end caught the ball, he threw it back to the wide receiver, and the wide receiver was actually moping on that play when he caught the pass and went to the end zone with, I won't call the team out, but they ended up calling the play back because, guy was offsides that ended up getting the ball. But tight end catches, he's going down the middle. He throws it back to the wide receiver who just didn't run his route full speed. He throws it to him. He scores a touchdown. But it's called back because he's offside. So not only was he moping about the play, he also was lined up offsides. So it's a situation you got to understand that those things may happen for you at any time. You got to understand that this game is we always say it's seconds away, 1 step here, 1 step there. It's very, real minute on what you can make happen. And you got to make sure you're ready for that point at any point in time during the game.
Sports is a tough job, because at the end of the day, it's 1 winner, 1 loser, and when for you and your team, you guys are 1-6 at the moment.
1-5.
1-5. My bad. I ain't speaking it into existence. You 1-5 going against LIU, Long Island University this week. What is something that you feel for you? Because you said that you don't look at just the players, you look at the coaches as well. Like, could it just be? Does it have to be a coach or a player formula that's the reason why it's not working?
I think that's the only thing it can be. I mean, and what else could it be? I mean, that's the only thing that's really existing on the football field. If we're not getting them to do what we need them to do, then as a coach, and I always say, if it's something physical, then it's on the player. But it's something mental where you're not in your gap or where you're supposed to be at, then that's on the coach because it's based on the scheme that you're running. So some of the things that they're doing or they're not doing, they haven't missed as many tackles. So it's a situation where we got to put them in a little better position, regardless if it's offense or if it's defense. So we got to make sure we're doing it. And it always goes back to, it doesn't matter how much we know, it only matters what they can do. So a lot of times you got to condense what you're doing on the field so they can play faster and they can play harder and they can get after it.
And when we talk about the preparation going into this week, run us through how practice have looked thus far with the changes that has been made.
Actually, the practice has been pretty good. That's the thing about it. Is just Monday's practice is usually a walkthrough, and afterwards we'll do a 12-minute run, and the guys did well. And yesterday's practice hard, first down, second down practices, making sure they understand what's going on first and second down, what we're going to call, what we're going to play. And today's more third down, red zone, fourth down stuff. And so, I mean, they're polishing up. They're doing a great job of polishing everything up and getting right on the right path. The thing about this team, LIU team, I'll just speak about them a little bit. I told our guys, this is probably the most active defensive line I've ever seen. These guys are flying all over the place. I mean, they play hard, they play tough, they get after it, they do a great job. They have a number 90. I think his name is Scoop, something like that. Young man's real good. Guy plays hard. He does a great job of playing extremely tough. He gets after it. And they have two quarterbacks. We had trouble with their quarterbacks last year. They have two quarterbacks that are just outstanding players that can make you miss in space and do a great job. They do a great job of running the football. They also efficient passes, but they do a great job of running the football. So it's one of those situations where defensively they play tough. A good friend of mine, he's a defensive back coach named Troy Douglas, and I know how well of a coach Troy is. We coached together at USF, and I know he's going to have those guys ready for us because he was the defense coordinator at Howard, a few years back when they won against us. So I'm sure he's going to have those guys ready. So this is a tough football team. They're 1-5 also. So it's a situation where they're 1-5, we're 1-5, but neither one of us are 1-5 teams. So we got to figure out, who's going to come out on top of this thing. We got to go in there and play our best.
And that's the thing, when it comes to football at times, the record isn't necessarily indicative of the team that is comprised. That is, it's just things have not failed. It just seems to not fall at the right moment, but
Right.
It doesn't define the team that is actually, out there on the field. Coach, one thing I wanted to highlight, each week it seems like the offensive line has gotten better. And this is one of the areas where, as we spoke about when we talk about football, how the trenches are such one of the most major important roles and positions when it comes to football, because football is won and lost within the trenches. Let's talk about your offensive line and how you have seen them develop and build that continuity as the season's going on.
Well, that's the crazy thing about it. They built it with different pieces. So the only two permanent pieces that have been there the whole time, I should say three permanent, has been our center and our tackles. Our guards have been interchangeable pretty much all year long, but Coach Holder's done a good job along with Coach Rothenbuehler of getting those guys prepared to play and giving them whatever the protection may be so they can put themselves in a good position, whatever we need to run. So it's not a situation where we got to run power, we got to run duo, we got to run zone. No, we got to run what they do best. So It's a situation where those two inside guys may change up. So we may be running zone this week and running power next week, depending on how those guys are pulling or how they're blocking. Are they more position blockers? Are they more, killing guys blocking, getting downfield right now? So it's been a situation where we had some moving parts on there, but Coach Holder's done a great job of getting these guys prepared for each game. And like you said, each week they've gotten better. We've had guys with big numbers. It's just a matter of putting it together now and winning football games.
That collaboration that we talked about earlier.
Absolutely. We definitely got to collaborate and get this thing rolling.
And I want to kind of come back to the WOW and within our collaboration, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things that we often, and that you highlight as we spoke briefly about earlier, was the complementary football side of things. How can you? What are some ways during practice? Because in game, it's different, right? When it's live versus a controlled setting. What are some ways that you feel that as a coaching staff you guys can, I guess, kind of help mold the collaboration or the identity of or the thought of the collaboration more clearly, so for game day it's more just going out and execution?
I think what we did a couple of weeks ago, we went back what I call combo. We're going first team offense versus first team defense, where the first team offense will be a scout team and the first team defense will be a scout team, and they'll show each other. So now you're seeing a little more speed as opposed to a young guy who doesn't really understand when it comes to scout team how fast he needs to go and how hard he needs to play. So we do that. We're collaborating when it comes to that, doing some combo stuff and making sure we're getting after each other. And on top of that, we started doing some competition. Like today, we did what we called a 2-point play, put 3 2-pointers going in there and see who wins it, offense or defense. And I think the defense won today, so the offense had to do a gasser. So it's a situation where we're trying to put them in as many game situations with game speed as best we can. And it goes back to what we said, when you're doing those things, now you're
Right.
collaborating and getting those guys where they need to be at.
And how's Zach looking? How is his return looking?
He's coming back. He's coming back again. It's going to be one of those, hey, coach, on Saturday, he's going to tap me and say, coach, I can do it, or coach, I can't. But we're excited about it, him coming back. We're excited about him getting things rolling. He's moving a little better in practice, so that's the positive thing about it. He's moving around a little bit better, so it's not bothering him as much. It's just a matter of him getting back to the rhythm of things, because he really hasn't gotten into the rhythm of things. Again, the last game he played was Dayton, so, and that was the first half. He didn't even play the second half. So he's been a while. He's been out about 4 or 5 weeks now. So you got to shake some of that rust off of him, make sure he's good. But we'll find out on Saturday.
Can you highlight your quarterbacks, your backups as well, because they stepped in through the fire. The first game, it was a little unexpected, even though the mindset is to be prepared. Is to practice and prepare as if you're playing that next day, because you never know what happens, and injuries are a part of the game. Let's talk about your quarterbacks for a moment, as well, as they have been able to sit in there and kind of guide the team in Zach's absence.
Well, the biggest thing is, during practice, we got to find out who's making the best decisions, because when it comes to playing quarterback, it's more about decision making than anything else. So when we decide on who's going to start and who's not going to start, it comes off of, okay, who's making the best decision. So when we put, when Zach went down the Dayton game and we put Jake Wolf in there, we put Amir Dudley in there, and Amir went in there, he wasn't making great decisions at the time. So we ended up putting Jake Wolf in there. So Jake made better decisions. So that's why we decided to go with Jake. And then the next week, and we're getting ready for the Miramar, after the bye week, and we're sitting there like, okay, we can do this, we can do that. And then we decided to go with Cooper Pantic, who's a true freshman, because during practice, he was the one making the best decisions. He was the one doing this, doing that. And so that's why we decided to go with him. And then this past Saturday, the same thing. During the week, he was making the best decisions. So it's not always based on who has the strongest arm or based on who can run the fastest. It's based on who can run our offense the best and who's going to run the plays that they want the best. And then what it boils down to is, each week, Coach Rothenbuehler gets with those guys. He say, guys, give me your 10 best plays that you feel you can run and I can call and it won't be a problem. So the guy that's getting the plays each week, he understands that they're in tune with the game. So that's the positive thing about it. So we have ways of working out and getting those guys ready. But those guys have done a great job, like you said. I mean, we haven't won games with them, but they've been good game managers and keeping things tight and being able to get valuable experience. So again, once Zach leaves and Amir leaves, those two young guys, be able to step up and get some things going for us.
In addition to this stepping up, Coach, the difficulty of freshmen coming in and Zach being there, being a senior and whatnot, the different coverages, the looks, the everything plays, the moving, who's roving, who's over top, who's underneath. When it comes to those, are those moments that only in game can teach them, or is it more? Could it be a combination, or should it be a combination of both studying and in game play?
I think you can study for it, but until you get into the game, that when you played in college, until you get into the game and them bullets start flying, you're not 100% ready at what's going on. Because a prime example would be, we put Cooper in the game against Merrimack, and the first drive, he goes down. They're playing what they normally play on defense. They're playing cover one, playing a little bit of two Tampa, and he saw that all week long because that's what we played. Well, as soon as they saw that he was in there, they started mixing up the coverages. So now it's time for him to respond to those coverages in real time. So it gets a little tougher now, because you don't have, regardless if it's a scout team or the first team running it, they're not running it the way they run it. And we hadn't run it. So it was a situation where he started seeing some things a little different. Went at halftime, trying to make some adjustments, just didn't work out the way we wanted it to. So yeah, they're gonna throw some different things at him if he's a young buck. And Zach, where if Zach's in there, you throw cover one at Zach, he's seen it. He's seen Tampa, seen it. He's seen cover three, and he's seen it at the college level. He hadn't just seen it at the high school level where they try to mix up the coverages and do a great job mixing up the coverages, but he's seen it at the college level and is moving a whole lot faster at the college level than they did at high school level. So yeah, they're definitely gonna throw some wrinkles at him if he's in there. If Coop's in there or if Jake's in there, they're gonna throw some wrinkles at him based on what they think they may or may not be able to do.
What challenges are present when you have a player that you're trying to help adjust or make things a little bit more clear on the field, and then to go at halftime and then to go out in the second half and say the defense does something completely different to throw them off even more. What's the difficulty in those type of adjustments when you can't talk the player through once the ball is snapped? What's the difficulty level in that, or the challenges that may be present?
Well, the thing that's made it a little bit easier is we have those tablets on the sideline now. So when he comes off the field now, we get those tablets on the sideline. We had them for our last game here at home. We didn't have them for the game in Merrimack. Now we can come to the sideline. We can show them, okay, this is what you're getting. Now Coach Rothenbuehler and the other coaches are showing them, this is what you're getting. This is what's happening. This is what you need to look for. This is the play we're going to call, and this is why we're calling the play. So it goes back to the play calling now. When you talk about coaching, now it goes back to Coach Rothenbuehler, where now you got to put them in a position where, okay, this is going to be open because they're running this coverage. Yeah. Or this is the coverage they're running at this time. So the adjustments there for this offensive coordinator to get him ready. And on the tablet, now you can show him so he can look at it and see it in real time. And now he gets on the field and he sees it in real time. And he's seen it. Oh, I saw this picture before on the sideline. Let me make this happen.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, got a couple more days of practice, game day on Saturday. I look forward to catching up with you on Saturday morning, see how the rest of the practice went, and see how the team was collaborating and they're getting in their mode, focusing, just overcoming the obstacles as they have done, but this week being victorious in that approach.
Yeah, and that's the thing that we're trying to do more than anything else, trying to make sure our guys overcome those obstacles and be victorious, like you said. That's the thing we're trying to stress to these guys more than anything else. I got a question for you, though, because I done got caught off guard by something. I'm looking at YouTube, and I'm checking everything out, right? Yeah. All of a sudden, I started hearing these 50s and 60s songs, AI. They done turn rap songs into like these 50s and 60s songs.
Man.
Bruh, let me tell you something. I didn't fall in love with this nonsense, Pitts. I mean, I'm listening to Biggie Smalls and listening to Tupac being a song. I'm like, oh, okay.
Nah, Coach, don't fall for it, Coach. Somebody sent me one with Mr. Rogers and Tupac. I was done. I was done. Somebody sent me a AI clip of Mr. Rogers and Tupac.
No, this ain't Mr. Rogers and Tupac. This is like a 70s. I'm sorry, like a 50s and 60s soul song.
Mm-hmm.
But what it did, say it took Biggie Smalls and it made it a 50s soul song. So it's the lyrics, but it's a song now. And I'm telling you,
I need you to send me that. I need that.
I'm gonna send you one. It is the wildest thing. Like they did Many Men by 50.
By 50 Cent.
And they made it a 50s and 60s soul song with like a blues background. It's something else. Somebody commenting on it. Who we commenting on it here?
Oh no, listen now. Otis is old school, so I was not Otis for that time there, but no, Otis was saying that this was a great interview. I appreciate you, Otis, for tuning in.
Appreciate you, Otis. Appreciate you, man.
But
yeah, Coach, we're gonna get ready for this thing, Chris, man. We're gonna see what we can do. Like I said, we got another day of preparation tomorrow, which I'm excited about. Another day of preparation Friday morning before we head out and we head up to LIU, man. And we're excited about it. That's the great thing about it. That's why they call it a season, man. You got one more opportunity each week. And so we're going to see what we can do to make this thing happen. So let's go, Bobby Moe.
Look, Coach B, Corey, I think Coach B fine-tuning his voice before he like me. Nah, but y'all know what it is, man. It's your boy Pitts, Coach Bernard Clark Jr., a.k.a. Tiger. It's through the eye of the Tiger. It's going down every Wednesday and Saturday. Check out your boys. Y'all already know what it is. It's Football Thursday for sure tomorrow. You already know what that look like, Coach. My boys against your old boys.
Ain't no doubt. About to make it happen.
Hey, man, y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Wednesday. Tune in because I got a lot more coming this evening, man. I got young lady Tiana Cyphers. I got Nemo Washington from Dell State. It's going down today. Tune in. Strap in. It's going to be a long day, but get your popcorn ready.
Make it happen.
Yeah, let's go. Bobby Moe. We out.
We out.